Hi everyone, welcome to Learn English with Miss. In today's lesson, we will learn about past, present, and future tense verbs, how to conjugate them, and write them in sentences. The verb is work, so let's conjugate this verb now. The simple present tense is I work. The simple past tense is I worked. The simple future tense is I will work. The present continuous tense is I am working. The past continuous tense is I was working. The future continuous tense is I will be working. The present perfect tense is I have worked. Past perfect, I had worked. The future perfect tense is I will have worked. The present perfect continuous tense is I have been working. The past perfect continuous tense is I had been working. The future perfect continuous tense is I will have been working. Now let's review. I work. I worked. I will work. I am working. I was working. I will be working. I have worked. I had worked. I will have worked. I have been working. I had been working. I will have been working. Now let's look at some sentences. I'll have to work overtime every day next week. I have a lot of work to clear up by the weekend. Let's wrap up this work now and go out for dinner. She asked him to stay, but he had to go to work. The verb is cry. Now let's conjugate this verb. Simple present tense, I cry. Simple past tense, I cried. Simple future tense, I will cry. Present continuous tense, I am crying. Past continuous tense, I was crying. Future continuous tense, I will be crying. Present perfect tense, I have cried. Past perfect tense, I had cried. Future perfect tense, I will have cried. Present perfect continuous tense, I have been crying. Past perfect continuous tense, I had been crying. Future perfect continuous tense, I will have been crying. Here are a few different sentences. The little boy fell over and cried for an hour. The children began to cry. Gabriella threw herself onto the bed and started to cry. I could hear a baby crying in the background. Her mother cuddled her until she stopped crying. The verb is pray. Simple present tense is I pray. The simple past tense is I prayed. The simple future tense is I will pray. The present continuous tense is I am praying. The past continuous tense is I was praying. The future continuous tense is I will be praying. The present perfect tense is I have prayed. The past perfect tense is I had prayed. The future perfect tense is I will have prayed. The present perfect continuous tense is I have been praying. The past perfect continuous tense is I had been praying. The future perfect continuous tense is I will have been praying. Now let's look at a sentence. She prayed very hard for it to snow so that she wouldn't have to go to school the next day, but her brother was praying for the complete opposite. The last example, cried, has its infinitive ending in a Y that sounds like an I. Here, you would drop the Y and replace it with an IED ending. Let's look at a few similar examples from the reference. ED endings. Work becomes worked. Rock becomes rocked. Pack becomes packed. Now let's look at some D endings. Joke becomes joked. Rake becomes raked. Dance becomes danced. Now let's look at some IED endings. Try becomes tried. Pry becomes pride. And fry becomes fried. Now let's go over some sentences. They worked very hard even after their shifts had ended. We joked about the mean dog next door. They tried to help each other to get out of the storm. Gina rocked the baby gently back to sleep. In late October, they raked up all the leaves from the front yard. The girls pried on their next door neighbors. Sheila's mom packed up all the lunches before the kids left for school. The older couple danced well into the midnight. All of the potatoes were cut up into thin slices and fried for the barbecue. In today's lesson, we learned about past, present, and future tense verbs, how to conjugate them, and write them in sentences. Thank you for watching and learning with me. I'll see you again next time. Bye bye.